All right. Well, being at ideaCity, which is very exciting, and I can tell it's a great audience and really high IQ out there. And although I don't come from the academic side of art, I'm really more of kind of life lived and trying to find my way through and trying to find ways of making interesting images of our world. And I also had the great fortune to have a phenomenal instructor in my first year, and mentor instructors I think are one of the most important things an artist can have. And he took me under his wing, but one of his assignments that hit me perfectly was he said, go out and photograph evidence of man. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because as a photographer, one of the things that you do is you become the observer. You step outside and you become the observer. But in this assignment, it allowed me to be an observer of a different kind. It allowed me to start to look at our species, man. Like, well, who are these guys and what are they doing? So I got the privilege of being an alien within my own culture. He kind of gave me the license and he says, go do that. So where I decided the important thing to look at was how we transform our landscape. This is a uranium tailings pond where uranium has been taken out and it's quartzite, and it's all been put into these tailings ponds. So I'm looking at how do I make a landscape that begins to talk about our time, about my existence. And it's not a simple problem because I'm part of it. I'm not outside of it. This is my life as well. But given, again, my observer status, I'm allowing myself to look and analyze and pull things from landscapes that I think would engage a viewer to want to enter and say, what is this place? What am I looking at? And then maybe you'll see the 45-gallon drums in the bottom right in a big print of mine. And then you'll be able to expand the picture and realize the scale at which what we're operating on. And it is it is we who are now dwarfed by our own technology, and that we are now, in a way, the Industrial Revolution has been carrying on the whole time. So these ages, the Stone Age and the Bronze Age and the Copper Age, are still alive and well, and they're functioning on a humongous scale. And again, when I looked at everything that I was photographing, oil became the binding force. I called it the oil party. We're in the oil party. You know, everything that we touch, everything that we engage with, our food, our cars, our everything. And I said, well, how do I put a landscape? No, I didn't know what these places looked like. And these this is in California, one of the largest oil fields, and one of the first discoveries around the Kern oil field around Bakersfield in Southern California. One of the largest oil fields. There's, I think, 15,000 jack pumps that were there. Here, this is the oil sands in Alberta. And these, again, a vast amount of oil reserve stretching from northern Alberta all the way down to Texas. And here we're looking at images from Bangladesh, where all the old oil tankers go to die. And it was interesting to go there because, again, I felt that I'm sure there was a connection. Like, why am I in Bangladesh on the beaches of Bangladesh? And to me, there was a real connection. These oil tankers, I'm sure I've pumped gas in my car from one of these tankers. You know, I've traveled North America, and I've driven a lot, and I'm sure that I've experienced something that these vehicles have done. So in a way, in our globalization, I saw that ultimately we're connected to all these things, and I keep hearing that at this conference about connection and disconnection. And so here it's going back and saying, well, what does that place look like? What does the largest vessel that man has ever built look like when it's being dismantled? And it's absolutely surreal. It's a very, very crazy, crazy place. You know, these ships are all being taken apart by hand. And again, we're the first world having this kind of pretty dirty job being done by the third world. And what was bothering me when I was photographing this is that there wasn't the kind of transference I would hope to see. In other words, we know things are bad. We know PCBs are bad. We know asbestos is bad. We know cutting torches without any glasses and without any breathing apparatus is bad. But there is nobody, and there's nothing that's preventing this situation from occurring, even though in the first world we know that that's a problem. In fact, I couldn't bear looking at these workers, and when I left, I made a deal with the guys that helped me put this together to hand out goggles to all the cutters. There was 2,000 people cutting there, and I bought 2,000 pairs of goggles from some of the proceeds of the sales and bought them all a pair of goggles with a letter saying, your eyes are important. You won't see your family if you keep working with the way you are. Use these goggles. They're going to save your eyes. And I'm a photographer, and it bothers me to see what you're doing because I work with my eyes. But I think that kind of action, we can't just allow these things to go on. As a first world country, we need to really take a hold of the situation and say, what are we doing here? And I think, personally, I think that I thought about it a lot. I think when somebody buys a ship, there should be a decommissioning cost built into it right off the bat, and there should be proper ways of handling it, and they should be made clean. Again, there was about 25,000 men, and it's probably the most dangerous workplace in the world.